Well, I was very much involved in racing, going to the races, working with the Penske team by that time, and I had my PR business, and I was representing Chevrolet as well. And so, I knew Brock and all the journalists out of Car and Driver because they were in New York City at One Park Avenue. I knew all this was going on. I knew everybody, and I said, "Gee, this sounds like something I should do. This could be fun, like wild and crazy." So I somehow gathered up all my motorsports friends. Bobby Rensler, a Can-Am team owner, got the limousine, the Cadillac limousine. Mark Donahue got us Goodyear tires. Roy Woods, who owned the Trans Am team at the time I was racing, he provided his friend Gary Magnus, who gave us a bunch of money. And we put Magnus Investments or something on the side of the car, Magnus something. I had a gentleman who was working with me on the Chevrolet account because we had a fleet of cars in New York City for media long before all these major companies have taken over. But we were the first to have a fleet of cars for the media in New York City. And so he was working with me on that. And so I had him take the limousine and make it presentable and make it safe, get the tires put on and make sure the seatbelts we pulled out. We just had to make sure, thank goodness, because we certainly weren't going to ride without seatbelts anyway. We were ready to go, And we only got the Right Bra sponsorship at the last minute. It was almost like, I don't know when the cocktail reception or the reception before the event was a day before, whatever. That was when we got Right Bra, and they were able to make up these decals out of they were just regular plastic decals that we put on our suits. So that's why when Donna Mae showed up without a bra, she didn't know we were sponsored by Right Bra, by that time. Well, we wanted to make it, of course. I don't know that we were aiming to win it. I actually thought all these stories about Pamela's experience, Bill Broderick, I thought they were all my year. I had no idea they were different years. I'm totally oblivious. We had this great plan. We really wanted to time it well. I'm a professional timer. I should get this done right. So we timed it right to punch the ticket because we were going to make sure we had the green light at the end of the street. Of course, it was red when we got there, so right off we were bad. So, and Peggy was very excited. She was just, "Oh, this is just so much fun," and we just started, and she was a little overexcited. I guess somewhere prior to our start, we heard some talk about there being snowstorms on the regular route that they were using, and we said, let's do something different. Let's go south and avoid any winter. Maybe we can, actually win this thing. So we decided to go south, and south meant going straight down to Atlanta and then across into Texas, which is where we met our demise. Well, I was the navigator, basically. So I think when we got into Atlanta area and we got on 285, that was my time to go to sleep. And I just assumed, I think I probably would have said we need to then take whatever that next highway is. And we're on 285. And I must have slept for an hour. And I wake up and I look and I'm still seeing the same signs going around. And I said, "Oh, Donna Mae, weren't we supposed to turn off?" I said, "Oh, I didn't realize that," or something. So we, then we got on the right road and kept going. So we made it across the south, all the way into Texas and down to El Paso. And if you look on the map, it's not totally out of the right direction. We're heading into Southern California. By that time, and we've been driving over 100 miles an hour, and we got stopped a couple of times, no big deal. The car started to, like, the wheels got out of balance or something, and they started to rattle, and then the heat went off, and it was freezing cold inside. And so we were in Texas, and it was Peggy's time to drive, and she really hadn't had much sleep, and she's driving along over 100 miles an hour. I noticed that she's dozing off. I'm calculating fuel and calculating mileage and whatever else, and I just said, "Oh," I think I just said something, "Hold on for a second," and then I looked over and she was dozed off, and I just tapped her on the shoulder, and that just panicked her, and she just panicked, slammed on the brake, and we just went off to the side up on the berm and went upside down, landed on our wheels, and and a trucker was behind us, I guess. He stopped. I guess he's the one who called the police, and they came over. But here we were, there's Donna Mae in the back seat with her helmet on. She wasn't comfortable with when Peggy was driving, and she was trying to sleep. That porta potty that is in Donna Mae's story in Brock's book, she talked about how I guess the contents got all over her when we went upside down, but it had never been used, so it was only the chemicals and stuff. So yeah, and Peggy felt so bad. She was just crying, and she just felt awful that she had done that. And we got to a hotel, and I said, you have to call Brock. And by that time, I think they were in California, because otherwise I don't know how we would have reached him. So I think maybe it was the next day, or somehow enough time has come by that they had arrived at Redondo Beach. So she called him and told him what had happened. And then I put us all on a first class on a flight home because we had plenty of cash left. So we got back to New York first class. I thought that would be over and done, and nobody would know that this had happened because we kept it quiet. For Brock's sake, and Brock, he didn't say keep it quiet, but we knew that he wanted to keep it quiet. So it's all over with. And then, years go by, and all of a sudden it's trickling back. This information is trickling out. People are finding out. Now they want to do panel discussions, go to the Amelia Island with all of us up on the podium and talk about it. And I remember saying at that time when Brock was there, and I said, I just want to thank Brock and Bill Warner for reminding me of all the stupid things I've done in my life. And that being one of them. So here I am. And what's funny is I have done so many things in my career, and so many people remember only that I was on the Cannonball. And I go, oh my God. I said, if this is what I'm going to be remembered for, at least I wish I'd finished the damn thing. We did write an article for Car and Driver. I don't know how many of us did, but we did. I wrote my story in Car and Driver before the Brock's book where he asked us to write our chapters. So there was an article that I had written in Car and Driver about our experience. I don't know what year that would have come out because it was being kept quiet for so long. But I don't think we ever said we crashed in the article. I think that only came out in the book. And when I checked our ages when we ran in 72, she was 45. I was like 28, 29. I don't think I had turned 29 yet. And I don't know what Peggy was, but, I didn't realize that Donna Mae was that much older. And when I mentioned the perky bosoms for that age, it was like, really? I mean, you look at that photograph of us three, you'll see how good she looks for her age. She and I did race together. Bruce Jennings had a 914.6, and it was at Brian Redmond's event at Summit Point. Bruce asked me to race that car, and he asked Donna Mae as well. And Donna Mae got in, and she hated it. She was so used to renting Corvettes by that time with Don Yanko and all. So she hated the 914.6. She wanted to throw a Corvette around, not a little 914.6. So she really said, I don't want to race it in the race. So he got another gentleman. So the three of us, I don't think Bruce drove. I think it was maybe just the two of us, this other gentleman. We finished like third overall in it was a long distance race of some. We did very well, but Donna Mae didn't want to drive it. I had not met her before, I don't know if she even knew who I was because I wasn't that famous then for my motorsports career, but she was. So I had called her and she said, sure, let's do it. And I don't think she cared about, that was what we had to drive. That's what she drove. Bobby Rinsler provided the car. I guess it just arrived somewhere. I don't remember how that all happened. I said, oh, thank you very much. That's great. After we crashed in El Paso, another call we had to make was to Bobby and saying, well, we wrecked the car. And he says, oh, okay, no problem. Don't worry about it. I don't know how much it would have cost at that time, but he was very good about covering that cost. And he calls up the rental car company and says, well, that's when we find out it was a rental car. And he calls up the rental car company and he says, oh, hey guys, I really love this car. I've been driving and I want to buy it. So he purchased the car. It's in a heap in some junkyard, but he purchased the car. Wouldn't it be funny if this car suddenly appeared somewhere? Because it wasn't in pieces. I don't know what happened to the vehicle. As I said, this was not a happy experience for me at all. So I would not watch the movie after it came out. I just wouldn't watch it. I don't want to watch it. I don't care. I'm over it. And I'm on an airplane. Back then when they showed feature films on airplanes, you know, I don't know if I was going overseas or somewhere. And this film comes on. I go, oh, okay, I'll watch it. And it was really interesting because I really didn't know anything about it. I didn't know that the women were in a Countach, you know, wasn't in a limousine. And pieces of my story that I had written in Car and Driver at that time, the book wasn't out yet, showed up in other people's stories, you know, so editorial license, I respect that. I totally appreciate that. So I said, oh, you know, it was interesting. It was fun. You know, they were wearing the pink suits that we didn't wear when we were driving, and there were only 2 girls, not 3. But there were little pieces, you know, about flirting with the policeman. I like, you know, I said, you know what? I'm okay with it.
Right now, I want you to click the link in the description below to find your next car on Auto Tempest. Whatever it is you're looking for, Auto Tempest is the most powerful way to shop for your next car. They compile all the results from all the major listing sites into one place, and now they've got a new feature that I love. You can see all of the historical price changes that a car has had since it first showed up for sale online. That gives me more power to be an even shrewder negotiator, understanding exactly how desperate the seller probably is to get rid of this car. So check them out now at the link in the description below to thank them for their ongoing support of VINwiki and find your next car on Auto Tempest.